Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Our first guest today is Breathwork and Life Coach Christine Hart-Savage, and the topic we'll be discussing is feeling lost and the soul connection. Welcome, Christine.
It's lovely to be back, Megan. Thank you.
Christine, how would you define feeling lost for our viewers?
That is one of my favourite subjects because I spent most of my life feeling lost, or this feeling of yearning. I was always looking for something else. When I was a child, I used to drive my parents nuts because I asked them, who was I before I was born? Where do we go when we die? I don't know. There's got to be something else, and they didn't know how to answer these questions. So I tended to suppress them. And I spent my life really thinking about this and yearning for this other connection, and I didn't even know what I was looking for. But I did find it through my breakdown, through starting to have to turn within myself. But one of my earlier experiences, a girlfriend of mine asked me to a particular meditation group when I was about 24, and I'd never been. And we had our little children in a creche there, and we went in to this particular place, and I was a bit confronted by it because there were some people there in like orange gowns and shaved heads, and I thought, what is going on here? And I was really quite daunted by it because I didn't understand that world. So we went in and we were sitting on a wooden floor, and there was this particular young woman taking the class, and she was leading us through this, what I called a relaxation. I laid down, and as soon as I laid down and I was listening to her voice, I started to relax, and suddenly there was a big tunnel, and I was moving through this tunnel, and I felt like I was moving very, very fast, but there was no resistance or anything like wind or anything like that, but moving fast. And when I looked up, there was this blazing light at the top, and I became frightened because I thought, oh, what happens when I go through the end of that tunnel? Will I die? And as soon as I had that thought, bang, it disappeared. And as soon as I relaxed again, it appeared again, and I was travelling through this tunnel. Now, I didn't tell anybody about this experience because I thought it was very weird. So the next week we went back, and the following week we were going through these same type of exercise she was leading us through, and we were sitting cross-legged on the floor, and suddenly, this is going to sound weird, but it's the truth. I had this little, like an umbilical cord coming out of my own belly button with a tiny little embryo floating in the air. And I thought, oh my goodness, I opened my eyes, it was there, I closed my eyes and it was there. And it just stayed with me the whole time. And when we finished the session, we were speaking to, they were swamis, I found out later, we were speaking to the swamis, and I told them about my two experiences, and they said, that's not fair, we've been meditating for years and we haven't had those experiences. I didn't ever go back because I was frightened of what I experienced at that time. So going forward, when I went through my really dark night of the soul, my challenging time in my relationship, I had difficulties with my children, and my marriage broke up and I had a breakdown. I went back into learning meditation and discovering and uncovering that part of myself. And lo and behold, back came this, what I now know is the tube of light that comes down around you, which forms this incredible tunnel that is part of us. It's a tunnel of light, and we're all connected to this. But I had a lot of experiences that happened that I did not understand, Megan. And I'm sure there's our viewers out there that are having experiences off and on that they don't understand either, or they may be yearning for that connection. So the emptiness I was feeling suddenly started to fill. and became a feeling of connection, a feeling of belonging that I had never felt before I went through these experiences. So the yearning started to disappear, the emptiness started to disappear. And I think that spiritual connection, that soul connection as I call it, fills that emptiness inside. And what I've realised is that we are a part of something much greater and much more magnificent than we realise. I started to realise there's so much more to us than we know. And this has been a continuous journey over the last 35 years of me really unfolding these deeper layers, because we're eternal. There's these eternal layers of wisdom and knowledge that is inside us. And it keeps opening and opening and opening to this wonderful, wonderful knowledge, this incredible wisdom once it is integrated into our body.
Christine, if the viewers and I are interested in connecting with our soul, what do you recommend?
Well, definitely to start meditating daily, because in that harmony and peace that you eventually get to, at first you won't experience that. You'll experience a busy mind, but we have to stick with it. Eventually you'll have pockets of sinking into yourself and experiencing a lovely calm and peace and harmony. When we're in that, this energy starts to flow through us. So that when we do enough of that, we start to develop in a different way. We expand, our consciousness expands, our wisdom expands. The other thing I'd like to touch on here, if I may, Megan, is that I had this wake-up call also that I wasn't necessarily fixed. We're not fixed. That I had the ability and the intelligence we're all given to look at who I'm choosing to be in life. I didn't have to be how I was. I could choose it. I could choose my thoughts. I could choose the way I wanted to feel, and I could choose my actions and my delivery in life and lead my life rather than being just blown around by life itself, because every day we could do that and just react and start looking within, because everything we need is inside us.
Christine, that's such fantastic information. If you'd like to know more about feeling lost in the soul connection and Christine Hart-Savage, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, psychotherapist specialising in hypnotherapy, Julie Makin, will be talking about what is body intelligence and is it the path to inner safety. Welcome back. Our second guest is Julie Makin, a psychotherapist specialising in hypnotherapy, and we will be finding out if body intelligence is the pathway to inner safety. Welcome, Julie. It's so good to have you back.
Hey, Stephanie. Thank you.
So tell us, what is body intelligence?
Okay, so body intelligence is how our body responds to the environment, and it comes in from the five senses. So what we see, hear, feel, what we taste, what we smell. And our body's actually sending signals at like 300 k's per hour approximately, going up through the body, sending off chemicals. And our bodies have just got this innate knowing about what is right for us. And it does everything it can to protect us. For instance, you fall over, you put your arm out. You don't stop and think about it. The arm just automatically goes out because your body is protecting you.
And how can knowledge of body intelligence lead to inner safety?
Okay, so that knowledge of body intelligence leads to inner safety with us having an awareness. It starts with having an awareness of what's going on inside our body. And when we have that awareness, which comes in from our environment, so we're noticing what's going on in our environment, our body is taking it in through what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we taste, and what we smell. And those signals are, being transferred within our body at approximately 300 k's an hour going up to the brain. It's telling us, and it's letting off chemicals and all these kinds of signals, and your body is doing everything it can to provide you with signals as to whether or not you feel safe or whether or not you feel unsafe. And when we're feeling unsafe, you may notice things like the heart starting to race. You may notice, your legs might start to feel unsteady in certain situations, or you might start to sweat a little bit. Maybe it's that interview or something. You may even notice at times that your voice might start to have a bit of a tremor on it. So these are signals that your body is sending you that you don't feel safe. Perhaps when you're feeling a sense of anxiety, let's just say that you walk into a room full of people that you don't know, and then all of a sudden you might feel your heart start to pound, or your legs might start to feel unsteady. You might even sweat a little bit. And in some cases, your voice might start to tremor a little bit, just stating that you don't feel safe. This is your body telling you that you don't feel safe. But it's good just to notice those things, and they're just basic signals as to, your body saying you are not safe, because when you feel safe, you feel a connection with people. Having a choice, once you have an awareness of that body intelligence and the acceptance that, okay, so my body's doing this, but you know what, I'm going to choose. I now have an awareness, and I am going to choose. You are now putting yourself back in control, and therefore you're able to plow forward a little bit better, because when we choose and when we have control, our body responds differently.
And how can we strengthen that awareness and increase our sense of choice in that moment?
Okay, so in that moment, you might like to try things like pushing your tongue to the top of your mouth, and it just helps to send signals to your body that, you are safe. You might try breathing techniques. You might, try eye contact with somebody that is safe, smiling with somebody, starting to get a connection with someone, because when we have connection with somebody, that puts us back into that place of safety. So that's what we're after. We want to feel safe.
Do you have any advice for our viewers on how they can proceed with this information and what they can do next?
Sure, okay. So if you feel that your body is perhaps responding just a little bit too much in the not safe area, I invite your viewers to start to seek professional therapy. It doesn't just have to be conscious mind therapy, but if you were to look for associations, find something that is right for you, because not all therapies are right for everybody. I promise that whatever it is that I do might not be right and suitable for some people, but just know that I personally feel that working with the body is where it's at, and I feel that that is backed up by, many different people. They might like to look at the Australian Hypnotherapy Association, or, but somatic experiencing is another one. But there's so many things that are out there, all different modalities, EFT, kinesiology, all of that kind of thing, that people can use. This is starting to connect with your body. And if people really want to go that little bit extra step and start actually grounding themselves in their body, I invite them to start practicing perhaps yoga or Tai Chi, definitely to help you start breathing properly, getting yourself back into your body, because you know what? Sometimes our body can be a really uncomfortable place to be.
Wonderful. That's great information. Thank you, Julie. If you would like to know more about body intelligence and inner safety and Julie Makin, please visit her webpage on our website healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll be back with another interesting guest and another interesting topic. Stay tuned. After the break, Lifestyle GP Dr. Avi Charlton will be talking about the health benefits of functional breathing. Welcome back. Our last guest today is Lifestyle GP Dr. Avi Charlton, and we will be talking about the health benefits of functional breathing. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again, Stephanie.
Dr. Avi, what is functional breathing and what are the health benefits of it?
To understand functional breathing, we've got to understand dysfunctional breathing. Dysfunctional breathing means not breathing properly. What happens is if we don't breathe properly, we can get more anxious, we suffer from palpitations, and if we use our mouth to breathe a lot, then we yawn a lot and we feel like we need to take big breaths all the time. We feel like we're not getting enough air, we feel short of breath. What happens when people don't breathe properly is they might not sleep properly as well. Sometimes some people snore and then they use their mouth for breathing rather than the nose for breathing. Then they don't sleep well. They wake up not having enough energy and it becomes a vicious cycle. Then they don't breathe well during the day. They feel like they're short of breath. They feel anxious and they don't have enough energy to perform in the day-to-day activities. There's signs that can tell you that if you're not breathing properly, you might yawn, you might feel short of breath and you feel like you're gasping for air. Sometimes you get palpitations or even reflux.
How can our viewers use breathing to improve their health?
So there's a few little things and then there's a few breathing exercises that we can do. What we can do is we can practice breathing light, breathing slow and breathing deep. So I'll elaborate each tip. Breathing light means we don't take big, huge breaths all the time, and practicing breathing less amplitude breathing, light breathing. What that can do is that can tell your body to hold more carbon dioxide, and there's a little bit of science to it that it actually tells your oxygen to get into your body, the brain, the muscles more. So light breathing improves our carbon dioxide tolerance. Deep breathing means we practice breathing into the diaphragm. What we can do is we can practice getting our hands to feel our rib cage. If we breathe into our rib cage, our ribs will come out and then our belly will go out. As we breathe out, our rib cage will go in and our belly will go in. So we practice deep breathing into our diaphragm as feeling our rib cage go out. So there's breathing light, breathing deep and breathing slow. So what we can do is we can practice slowing down our breathing. We can do breathing exercises that involve slowing down. If you're new to this, you can do counts, breathing in for 3 and out for 3, breathing exercises. Then if you get better at it, you can breathe in for 4, out for 4, or even in for 5 and building up to as long as you can, as you tolerate on breathing exercises. Then there's breath holding exercises that you can slowly incorporate into your life. There's a technique called box breathing. Box breathing means that you take a breath in for 4 counts and then hold for 4 counts and then out for 4 counts and then hold again for 4 counts. And then if you can do 4 counts, you can increase it to 5 counts or even 6 counts. This technique is used by the Navy SEALs to slow down their anxiety, calm them down, and that can improve their mental health. That helps to improve our breathing and reduce anxiety, improve our well-being as well. Then there's lots of other breath holding exercises that we can practice. Let's say you're going out for a walk, you can do some breath holding. If you're new at it, you can hold, pinching your nose for 10 steps, and then you can release and walk 10 steps. Then you can repeat it again 5 or 6 times, doing breath holding exercises. As you get better, you can increase it to 15 steps or even 20 steps. Then that helps to tell our body that we can hold on to carbon dioxide more. Then your body can learn to tolerate higher carbon dioxides. That actually gets your body, your muscles and your brain to have more oxygen delivered. That in turn improve your mental health, improve cognition, and you function better. The more we breathe through your nose, the more you breathe through your nose at night when you're sleeping as well. We also talk about using mouth tape to tape your mouth so you don't breathe through your mouth at night, especially for those who don't know if you're breathing through your mouth at night. And some people worry about that they will suffocate if they're breathing through, if they have their mouth taped. There are lots of different mouth tapes. Some of them have a little slit that doesn't cover their mouth, and that might help you to get used to a mouth tape and practice breathing more nose breathing. In turn, that can help with better sleep and better function during the day. With children, what happens if the children breathing through their mouth is they can get facial development problems. If they breathe through their mouth too much, the jaw development isn't quite right, and they can get facial development problems, receding jaws, and they're more likely to need orthodontic treatment, braces. So what parents can do is they can remind their children to breathe through their nose more often, all the time, and even at night they can mouth tape the kids. They might have to get used to it, and you can get special mouth tapes that has a slit in the middle. And there are exercises called buteyko exercises that their mothers can do games with the children, practice more nose breathing and even breath holding. What I suggest is people can seek help with professionals who are trained in breathwork and breathing exercises who talk about how to breathe functionally. So we can get the right guidance to talk about functional breathing, get the right exercises for breath work. In that way, you can get the right advice on how to breathe properly.
Great. I'm going to be checking my breath for the rest of the day.
That's great.
Thank you for that information.
Thank you, Stephanie.
If you would like to know more about functional breathing and Dr. Avi Charlton, please visit her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. That's all we have time for today. Goodbye until next week.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel.